Welcome to It's in the Details, a podcast where we take a sneak peek behind the curtains, where we dive into what it takes to truly create a remarkable event. So, whether you are an event professional, a community leader, or just simply curious what goes on behind the scenes, this is your all access pass to the details that make the magic happen. Today, we have Sue Vanatta with us, and she has a wealth of experience in different kinds of events and how and why they came together. She has been a county commissioner. She has also been the president of the Lebanon Wilson County Chamber. And we are excited to explore her experiences with you. Welcome, Sue.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. Will you tell us a little bit about your background and kind of how you kind of came into doing events or participating in events for the purpose that they served for whatever role you were playing at the time?
Sure. Well, I moved here in 1973, and my husband and I at that time started an insurance agency. And I went to the chamber because I had done some homework on the chamber, and I knew I needed to get involved in the Chamber of Commerce for our business to grow, and I did. And after serving and in the chamber for several years, I was invited to serve on the board of directors. I did that for a few years, and then I was hired to be the president CEO. I did that for 23 years, and it was wonderful. I met so many wonderful people, and I saw a lot of changes in Lebanon, Mount Juliet, Watertown, Wilson County. I saw a lot of things that we can make happen as a county that we did not have. We're so centrally located within a mile's drive of about 60% of the population in the United States. So, working with the chamber, I had the opportunity to get to know a lot of business people, a lot of individuals, a lot of elected officials. And it was really an eye opening to see what all we had here in Wilson County and also the opportunity to bring other things into Wilson County.
So, what was that period of time between being on the board and being the chamber president that gave you that insight?
I served on the board for approximately 2.5 years. There was a person that was serving as president CEO, and he decided to leave. And one of the board members, in fact, chair of the board, contacted me and said, "Would you fill in until we can find someone?" I never was hired. I just started filling in and became the president
That's
CEO.
like an instant hire. That works.
It was, and it really was a wonderful part of my life. Like I said, meeting so many people from elected officials to race car drivers to individuals working that own their own business. And I was able to work with a lot of people to make a lot of things happen here in Wilson County.
That is very cool. So you actually produced events, but you probably participated in different events as well.
I did. One of the major events that happened while I was president and CEO of the chamber the first few years was a gentleman that was the state representative here in Lebanon, Wilson County, came to me one day and he said, "Sue, at our agricultural center, we have the opportunity to bring a lot of camping groups here."
Okay.
I didn't know anything about camping. I didn't like camping, but I listened to him, and he and I and another lady, we went to Illinois to the tractor association, and we recruited that association to come to Wilson County. And then the next year we went to, forgot exactly where we went to, but it was another state. And we recruited the family campers and hikers. And
Okay.
they all came to the Ag Center. And I wish, well, there's still pictures floating around. There were people camping in tents, in trailers, in the back of a pickup truck, in a big RV. And that really started the knowledge of what can happen here in Wilson County on these grounds.
So when you talk about these grounds, you're talking about the James E. Ward Ag
The
Grounds,
James C. Board Ag, yes.
which is, it has a plethora of buildings behind the expo, which we are actually at the expo recording the podcast.
Right,
So,
right.
which is at the front of the grounds. So, that was before the expo.
That was before the expo. Uh, I retired from the chamber, after 23 years, and I ran for county commission, and I was successful in becoming a county commissioner. Well, during that period of time, the transition from me being with the chamber to being a county commissioner and going out and talking to people when I was running for that office, I had people say, "We need a larger building at the Ag Center to host different events." There was ladies that wanted to do a big quilt show. There was just different opportunities. So, I asked the mayor to appoint a committee, and he did, and I, was chair of that committee, and we started meeting and talking about how can we put together a business plan for an expo center, and we did, and we are so blessed to have this. The night that it was voted in, we had to have it passed by the county commission. Um, there was some people that were skeptical about the expo, and I
Well, I'm
understand
sure
that. It
there
was
was a
something
lot of
new.
money involved in the
Right,
process.
exactly. And I spoke that night, and I just told them about how we had arrived to this position of getting this expo center and why we needed this expo center. And thankfully, it passed. The vote was in favor of building the expo center, and I had several people come up to me afterward and said, "If you hadn't spoke, this would not have passed." And I'm so proud of that because what it has done for this county, and it is a county expo center, and it's owned by the citizens of Wilson County, the taxpayers of Wilson
Correct.
County. And the job that you do with your team here is just unbelievable.
Well, thank you for that. We are very proud of what we do
I'm
here,
very proud of it.
and we see all different kinds of events, and they're for all different reasons.
True.
I mean, all different reasons. But um, and our major goal is always, and always will be, as long as Zendel and I are here, will always be, we will do everything we can within our power to make sure that an event has every opportunity to be successful. We don't control everything, but what's within our power will make sure that you at least have that advantage as you're going into your event to host it. So, we are very proud of that, and I personally am very grateful that it all came together because what a great opportunity. But I will be honest, I mean, it probably took me. I've been in the job for 5 years, and it took me, oh, I don't know, probably at least a good year and a half to totally understand the capacity of what we could do. I know when I walked in for an interview, I just thought, "Oh, there's so much potential here. This is amazing." And I didn't know exactly where that was gonna go yet, but it was exciting to see the potential, and then to try to capitalize on that and build on that has been a wonderful journey to go through. It has its ups and it has its downs, there's no question, but, it's been a wonderful journey. So,
I'll always remember the day that we did the grand opening and cut
oh,
the
I'm
ribbon out
sure.
front. It was so exciting to see the faces of people, like, what some were very doubtful, "Why are you doing this? It's gonna
Mhm.
cost the county money." Others were very excited. Several people were saying, "Oh, we can bring this group here. We have an opportunity to do this," and it is just come such a long way. And when it first opened, as a commissioner, I felt one of my, opportunities to was to go out and talk to the people when they came here. Maybe not opportunity, but my, um, mission, I guess. And I would go and talk to some of the people that came to the first conventions here and ask them, "Are you pleased with our facility?" And no one said no. And that is so truthful
To this day, that
to this day.
continues. I hope you know
Yes.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know because you probably don't know. I come out here sometimes and I talk to the people to just see how it's
Well,
going
there
on.
we go.
And I never have anyone say, "Oh, it's horrible. We didn't have a good time." They are so complimentary, and the only thing that they ever tell me that is negative is, "You need it larger." And
Yeah.
I agree with them.
I get that too. I get that too. And, it's kind of interesting because, um, yesterday, I I did not sit at my desk until 3 p.m.,
I
okay?
can believe that.
And that may sound like, "Well, gee, what was she doing? How come she wasn't doing her job?" Well, I was doing my job because the event planner, the 2 key people asked to sit down with me to talk. And I sat and I visited with them, not about contracts, not about do's and don'ts of having alcohol service, not about anything related specifically to what was happening on the grounds and in the expo right now, but just to visit with them and just to understand them, which led to being introduced to multiple people that are attending their event. And this is a very high profile event. So, I mean, this is people are here, have paid a lot of money, so they're looking for an experience. And so, like I said, I say all the time actually is that, it's in the details. It's about everything you do, and I spent time with them, and those people, one couple in particular said, "Thank you for taking the time to just sit and have a conversation." And it wasn't about the expo. It was just about them. They just wanted to be seen and heard and have their experience mean something. And that's the best part of my job, is getting to explore those opportunities with people that are here, and they were like, everybody is friendly, and you guys really work hard, and the food is great. I can't take credit for the food, but still, and that I really enjoy that aspect of it. So I'm glad that you do that,
Oh, yes.
because I want everybody to do that. I tell people all the time, this building belongs to the county.
Right.
I don't care whether you're in Watertown or you're in Mount Juliet or you're in Lebanon. This building is yours, and I want you to come and enjoy it. And that's why we try to have a variety of events. But
Uh, I'm amazed sometimes at how many people that live here in Wilson County have never been here. Have
there are
never been
still many, I will tell you that.
and you and Zendel and your team here, you all do a wonderful job of showcasing it and getting the word out. But I think one reason is because it is here and people take it for granted. It's just, "Oh, well, we have an expo center, big deal," you know? But
Until they walk
until
in.
they walk in, that's what I was
Right.
going to say, until they walk in and they go, "Wow, my gosh, we have an expo center." And it's just it has done so much for Wilson County. It's changed so many avenues. It's changed we now have a venue that people are proud of. And, I just cannot believe how far it's come. From the day we opened it, I thought, "Well, this is going to be great. We're gonna lease it every now and then, try to lease it as often as we can." But now it's leased all the time, and you and your team do a fantastic job.
Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you for that. So you came into events, you participated in events, you produced events. What's one detail that you think makes the biggest impact anytime you're planning an event? Is it the money? Is it the volunteers? I mean, what is it that you think is the most important thing every time you kind of approached, okay, we've got to do this, whether it was the parade at the chamber or whatever else you did?
Well, a lot of that depends on, I think, the event, because what I see is almost every event, there's something different. You think they're all alike,
No.
but they're not. There's something
Far
different,
from it.
and different people see different things. But I see a building that is needed desperately. We got it. We use it. We make people happy. People enjoy coming. Only mistake we made, we didn't make it large enough. So I'd like to see it made larger. Uh, there's not anyone that I've ever heard say, "Oh, we've got that expo center and it doesn't do anything for this county." I've never heard that, and I see a lot of people, as you do, talk to a lot of people, and, I'm surprised sometimes that some of the citizens that live in this county have never been out here.
Yeah.
I tell them, "You don't know what you're missing. Go out there and just walk through it and see," because in your mind, you may be thinking, "Oh, I'd like to have this event, or I'd like to have this big party, or I'd like to have an anniversary party." We have the South Hall, which is smaller. We have the large size side that's large. So we have the capability of having events for several different numbers from 100 on up to several thousand.
True. I mean, technically, we could have 6 events at one time. Technically.
I'm glad
We've
you said I was
never done that.
gonna
We've never done that yet, but technically we could. Um, Zendel and I were talking about that the other day, and it was like, I think I think 4, he thinks 3 is the most that we've had, but I'd have to go back and look at the calendar and try to figure that out. But intentionally, we try to diversify the events, and so I'm telling I'm excited about next year because next year brings a whole list of events that we've never had before.
That is
And
exciting.
that is exciting because that's just kind of a renewable energy, if you will, that people will have different opportunities. And, um, just a quick tidbit that the Expo Center does about 10% of local events. Out of if you look at all of our events, about 10% is local, and about 45 is across the state, and about
Right.
another 45 is across the nation. I don't ever see those numbers really changing a whole lot, because the local events are usually the much smaller events, so they're
Right.
more frequent. Um, they can generate there may be a bigger number of events, but they generate less income overall because the bigger events may be less frequent in terms of how often they come back, but there's more of them,
Right.
so they tend to generate more revenue. It doesn't make one more important than the
Oh,
other
no.
by any means, but it's an interesting mix, and there's always a reason, whether it's a local based event or something that comes from out of the area. It's always important in how we do that to make sure that people do have a reason to come out here besides the fair. I mean, we all know the fair takes part of the building, or takes the building during the month of August, but you do have, 11 months out of the year that you can come out here for something else. So,
Well, I think one plus that we have for this facility is free parking.
yeah, free parking is a great thing.
I think that's been a plus for a lot of people coming out of Nashville, hosting their events here because it is free parking. We
Well,
don't have enough parking sometimes.
sometimes that's true. I will tell you though, from talking to event planners that I talk to, if they're hem-hawing about, well, it's outside of Nashville or, so the geographic location, they'll try to play that card or, that, well, yeah, okay, we're outside of Nashville. Let me show you the pluses of that. But you throw in their free parking. And I said, and if you want to compare apples to apples, you can have an event in downtown Nashville, no question. There's a lot of wonderful things to do, and I would highly suggest going to visit downtown Nashville. But your parking is going to cost you somewhere
Right.
between $25 a day and $35 a
Or
day
more.
or more. That's true, depending on where you are. And I'm like, so take all of your attendees and add that as a perk. It makes a
It
difference,
sure does.
and that gets their attention. So free parking is a thing. It
It is
really
a
is a
thing.
thing. And they
Well, also, I think having the expo center here has brought a lot of, other businesses to the downtown Lebanon area, the Mount Juliet area, even Watertown area. In fact, I drove through downtown as I was coming out here this morning, and I looked, there's 2 new restaurants I didn't know, and it seemed like every day. And when I first started with the chamber, everything on the square was antique store, and we were known as the Antique City of the South.
I did not know that. That's interesting.
And people came from everywhere. I mean, everywhere to the antiques, and we'd have limos pull up, and country music stars would get out and go into the antique shops. And to see it go from the antique city of the South to no antiques, and now there's boutiques, there's restaurants, there's so many new things to do.
Which
It
speaks
just
to more people.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, brings more people, uh people that were living here didn't think about the antiques because they had antiques. But now with all the restaurants and everything, all the new people stay home. They come and eat here in Lebanon. People east of us especially, they come to Lebanon, Tennessee, and not have to go all the way into Nashville
Or south of us.
or south of us. That's true. I guess
Yeah.
north too.
Yeah. I mean, and I could say that, like, with Mistletoe Merchants, if you look at their demographic breakdown of their attendees, they're pulling, believe it or not, all the way from New York
I can believe that.
area, okay, Southern New York area, um, to the coastline, to Alabama, and all the way from Texas. We have vendors alone that come in for different shows that come in from there's a huge segment that come from Texas to come here. And when you think about that and you talk about events and you look at revenue potential,
Right.
it isn't just about the money that they rent the building for. It's about other things that are important, which I'm sure from the chamber perspective, you capitalized on
Oh,
or
yeah.
probably used in your dialogue and talking to people.
Exactly. Well, it helps our sales tax, helps our hotel motel tax, it's food tax. I mean, it's so beneficial for almost every business here. Uh, we've had people camping here that would their camper tire went out. Where did they go buy the tire? Here in Lebanon, Wilson County.
Right.
So we have pretty much everything to offer here, and I think people are realizing that now. So even locals are staying local instead of going out of the county because of the expo center, the new businesses coming in. It's opened the eyes of a lot of people that live here in the county,
And as it should.
as it should.
As it
Exactly.
should, for sure, because that revenue so from your perspective, when you served as the president of the chamber, and I'm looking for your view, not my
Mhm.
view.
Right.
So your view as the president of the chamber when you served in that capacity, you saw these events, you saw events come in. H how did you value those events in terms of what it did for our area?
Well, we started a program through the chamber with all of the, at that time, we had a lot of camping groups that came out to the agricultural center. So we started a program and we asked two or three of the big large camping groups if they would go to the bank and get $2 bills and
Okay.
use the $2 bills to pay for everything they bought.
That's brilliant. You
And
can track that.
we tracked it. We did. We had a barrel or box at the different businesses, so they would drop their $2 bills in there, and the, businesses allowed us to count those $2 bills, so a group of us sat upstairs in the chamber boardroom and counted those, and it was amazing to see how much was spent here in Wilson County from 2 or 3 different camping groups, and so it got to be a contest, what business takes in the most $2 bills? It was Walmart. Go
Well,
figure.
yeah, go
Not
figure.
surprising,
Walmart
but
that has everything that you never needed.
one of the local grocery stores was second.
Well, there you go.
So, yeah, that was a great way for us to track, are we doing the right thing?
Right.
When we had the, rodeo that came in, we did a contest with a lot of the businesses for we bought the boards, we bought the equipment for them to make it's gonna sound funny, to make a cow.
To make a
They
cow.
made a wooden cow, they
Okay.
decorated it, they painted it to promote their business, but the idea was then we brought them all out here and we displayed them on the grounds so people could see how the businesses here in Wilson County and Lebanon were involved in bringing the rodeo here.
Where are there pictures of that? Because
I have
I've never
some.
heard of that.
I have some, I will show you.
That is
It
fascinating.
was fascinating. It was really fascinating. I'm gonna say there was 30 wooden cows sort of here in the Lebanon area.
All decorated
All
different.
decorated different to promote they promoted their business by the cow, and then we gave a prize. We let the people vote that were involved in the rodeo, and we
Yeah.
gave a prize. I can't remember now what it was, but we gave a prize for the winning cow. Just little things
That
like
is
that
so
back then.
cool, though. I mean, so you guys bought the wood
We bought the wood.
and you gave away basically these kits, I guess,
Yes,
so they
exactly,
had to make the cow.
exactly.
Huh. Well, the expo is gonna be 10 years old next year.
I know, so we're gonna have to do something
I
big.
know, I know, I know. I was like,
Oh,
"Cows,
yes.
hmm,
Mhm.
I don't know that I wanna do cows,
So
but, we could do
trying to come
something
some big.
fun."
I know it's hard for me to believe that this expo is 10 years old. It just seems like yesterday we were discussing, well, can we do this? Can we do that? How large should we make it? Should we make different size rooms? There was just so many decisions.
Well, and I can say from being in it day to day, um, there's things I would have done different,
Oh, yes.
but that's not a criticism. That is just the opportunity to be part of it day to day where you're actually using it, you're actually setting things up. You begin to see and it's like when you buy a house, you go, "Oh, the
Right.
house is perfect." And then you live in it. And then you're like, "Well, I really need this cabinet to be 6 inches further this way, and I
Very
really need a
true.
closet over here." And so you once you experience it, you live in the moment, you begin to see things that you might have done different. So
True.
there are things that I would love to see different,
Oh,
but
me
it's
too.
never anytime I ever say that, it's never a criticism because somebody did something wrong.
Oh, no. Well, it was a new idea for
Right.
Wilson County, and we did travel to some other sites. We went some other states and looked at their facility. In fact, I think we visited 4 states in one day. We were fortunate to have one of our local companies that had a private plane, and they took about 8 or 10 of us, and so we got some ideas from visiting, and, I think that's one of the best things that you can do, and, you
I do
you
that
learn something.
everywhere I go.
I know you do, and I applaud you for that. You learn something new every time you go out of the county or out of the state and visit a facility similar to yours. You come back and think, "Oh, now we can do that,
Yeah.
and we can have that event here."
Oh, yeah.
So
I do that all the time. I do. I'm very known for like, okay, who's in charge here?
yes,
I need to
exactly.
talk to them.
That's what I did when I was with the chamber, exactly. You've got to get to know the people, what they do, and if they would be interested in coming here, and if so, why? What do you need us to do to help you bring your business here?
So on that note, let me ask you this question. So you did travel, you went to
I did,
places,
yes,
and that was all in support of trying to learn and understand and gain knowledge, just
exactly,
in terms
exactly.
of a venue and what works and what doesn't work. So in my role, I spend time going to conferences to talk to event planners of
As you
different
should.
kinds, corporate, religious, Smurf, whatever. But there are those, if you're not in the business, I can understand why some people might say, "Well, isn't that a waste of money?" I mean, if you don't come home with like 20 bookings, I mean, what have you actually done? What would you say to that?
I would say we opened the doors for Wilson County. We met with people, we talked to people. They now know what we have to offer. They may not come this year or the next year, but in their mind, they still have that information that you gave them. They have the paperwork, the pamphlets that you presented to them. So who knows? 2 years from now, one of those companies that you meet this week may come. They may not come this year or next year, but
So it's kind of like scattering seeds and planting a garden.
exactly.
Okay.
Great example.
Okay. So and then I I saw this play out in person. It was so cool. I love seeing things come together.
I do too.
And and that's probably why you've helped me so much in what I've done and what I've been able to accomplish. But um so I go to this conference and I've been to this conference for 5 years. The whole time I've been here, okay? And met people, established relationships with the planners of the event. It's an event planning conference. They rotate it around and go to different cities. Uh and I've these friendships and these relationships, you always wonder I wonder how strong that friendship really is. I mean, is it a friendship or is it, is it just business? So I'm there and I'm doing my thing like I normally do. And one of the event planner or one of the other venues comes walking over to me and brings this event planner with her. Now, you would think that normally they wouldn't do that because like they want the business, right? Well, she comes over now, this is what 5 years of investment paid off. She comes over and says, "Gail." She knew my name. That was shocking to me, okay? "Gail, she is trying to plan a rodeo. I don't have I don't have a venue that would accommodate that, but I'm in the same geographic sphere that you are. You are a perfect fit for her." Made the introduction. We made time. We didn't have a scheduled appointment with her. We made time for her after we were done at the end of the day. We sat and we visited with her, and I made a phone call back here and talked to the ag grounds, put them in contact, and by the time I got home, they had a rodeo scheduled.
That's called networking.
I was like, "That was beautiful." I mean, I could not have choreographed that better.
And that's what a lot of people do not understand. They think, okay, Gail works at the expo center and she just sits there and she answers the phone and she takes care of people. They come there. If you did not do that, we would not have all these companies coming here. You've got to spread the word. You've got to plant the seed, just like you said. And you and your team do a fantastic job of planning the city. I've been with you on some of those conferences,
You have.
and it's really an eye opener to see people come up and sit at your booth. And I'll never forget the lady. I have to share this story.
I know what she's going to say.
One of Gail's displays says "Meet in the Middle." Well, a lot of people don't really understand that. And this lady comes up and she said, "Where is the middle?" And Gail and I look at each other like, "What?" And she said, "What? You have a city named Middle?" And we both kind of laughed. I said, "No, let me explain. Tennessee is made up of East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and West Tennessee. So she's promoting meet in the middle of Tennessee." And the lady said, "Oh, I get it now." So, but little things like that that people do not understand. And not only do you promote the city and the county, you promote the history of Tennessee, and that brings a lot of people to this area too. People
It
from
does.
north, people from the California area, they don't know anything about Tennessee, and when they come here, they say, "I may just move here. I love Tennessee. I love the people here. We're good old Southern people." And
Yeah,
so
they
thank you.
learn to like sweet tea.
They do. They do.
Yeah, that was a fun story because I will tell on myself. I was like, "Wow, I've never heard it explained like that." I was just promoting because geographically, east to west, we're the middle,
Right,
but geographically north to south, Murfreesboro is the middle.
right, but we're close.
But we're very close to that. We're very close to that. So that is a good thing, and that actually kind of defines how I determine our marketing area.
Right.
How far will people travel? So, I think that that's really
Well, and our
important.
proximity to Nashville is a plus too. They can
True.
stay here, they can have their trade shows here, but if they want to go to the Grand Ole Opry, if they wanna go downtown 2nd Avenue, it's not that far. It's,
Right.
2-hour drive, depending on traffic, most time 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, it depends on
Depends on traffic,
the
yeah.
day and the traffic for sure. And that's what we tell them when they
Right.
ask us, "Where are you?" Because they will ask us
Oh,
that.
yes.
"Where are you in proximity to Nashville?" And it was like, "Well, okay, come out from the airport, you're at the interstate, you can go left or you can go right. If you go left, you're gonna go into Nashville. Depending on the time of day, it'll probably take you longer to get into Nashville than it will to get to us." And they're like, "Wait, what?" But they don't if they've ever traveled to Nashville, they would understand that.
They would.
I mean, Nashville has just grown beyond my wildest imagination. I remember moving to Tennessee in 1997, and I felt like I was in the biggest city in the whole wide world at that point, and that's coming from somebody who traveled all over the countries. I mean, I've been to multiple countries.
Right.
I'd been lived in multiple countries, but I was just like, "I'm in a metropolitan city." I was so excited, man. It was like it was my New York, and then I look at it now and I'm like, "Well, maybe it wasn't really New York." But that is one of the advantages when you talk about trying to sell a concept to an event planner is you've got the best of both worlds.
Yes.
You can be in Wilson County and you can experience and explore Wilson County. And if you really want to go to downtown Nashville, it's a different world, but you can go.
You can go.
And then you know what? You get to come back to
That's
Wilson
true.
County. And there's a lot of opportunity there, a lot of opportunity. And so I've really appreciated trying to develop and expand that awareness of what people have the opportunity to do here.
Well, I appreciate you saying that and doing that because a lot of people, um, don't really understand that part of having the events here. Uh, they think, "Oh, this company just comes out here, or this event comes out there. They stay here at the expo center for 2 or 3 days and they leave." Excuse me, and that isn't true.
No.
And
Not at all. Because, I mean, obviously, if you wanna look at the pragmatic side of having an event, and yes, there's revenue that is important to
we
us.
have to pay the bills.
We have to pay the bills, that's right. So there's revenue that's important to us, but at the same time, it's kind of like when we did the preferred provider program, and I wanted to expand that. And some people told me, "Oh, you need to stay with only Wilson County vendors." And I looked at them and I was genuinely perplexed. And I
Right.
said, "Well, why would I want to do that?" And they were like, "Well, because you have to promote local only." And I'm like, "But you see, it's not just local people that are coming here. And if you want other businesses to want to come here, then why not give them a chance to explore and experience us,
Right.
in that capacity?" And I'm so proud of the fact that our preferred provider program now embraces these companies that are want to come out. They're coming from Nashville to come
Uh-huh.
out here to work events.
That's awesome.
And what does that do? It's just I've seen the looks on their faces when they go, "You just had 6,000 people come through this building," and I I I tried to tell you that. That's 6,000 impressions while making money at an event.
Right.
That's pretty good marketing dollars.
That's great marketing dollars, and
Whatever it cost you in gas to come out here, it was well worth it.
you didn't have to pay to park to come out here.
And
And
you
you
didn't
didn't
have
have to
to
pay to park. That's right.
Exactly.
You
If
didn't
you
have to pay to park.
if you want to spend the night, we have several hotels here, so
Correct.
we
Correct.
really have a good package.
And activities, and then don't forget Fiddler's Grove,
Oh,
we've got that
historic
as
village.
well.
Oh, yes. It's
So, I
wonderful.
mean, that vision, and I'm glad that it worked out the way it did, because sharing what we have is one of many avenues, but is one of the ways that we can grow.
Very true.
And I think that that can be said for any venue
I agree.
and any event planner and so forth, that and I love going to the different cities and exploring and learning. I think you were with me when we went to Panama City,
Oh, yes.
and that wonderful venue that we saw,
Yes.
and we both looked at each other and said, "We need to have that."
Right, exactly.
I mean,
I know what you're
so
talking
those ideas and those things that spark, and that's really, I think you would agree with me, that's the energy and the literal sparks of ideas that happen, that help develop an area to be
That's
what people would enjoy.
so true. When you were saying that, my thought going through, I had the opportunity, I'd been with the chamber maybe 10, 12 years, had the opportunity to serve as president of the Tennessee Chamber.
Oh,
And my goal was to travel to as many chambers in the state of Tennessee that I could to share ideas, and it was perfect. I came back to our chamber with some new ideas to start new programs like the Tennessee Scholars Program, the teacher grant program, just things like that that other counties were doing. And then I was able to share some ideas with them of some things that we were doing that were not. So it's the same thing with what you're doing. You're going to other cities and you're sharing ideas. You're learning from them and they're learning from you. You can sit here in this expo center all day, every day. And what does that do? It doesn't promote the center. It doesn't promote you or your team, but you've got to get out and tell the people who you are, what you're doing, why. My dad always told me, remember this. If you've done who, what, when, where, and why, and then you go back to how, you've completed your project. And I think
that's
about
good
that a lot.
advice. That's very good advice.
I pass that along to my children. I don't know if they listen all the time, but I do tell them.
But you can only do what you can do, right? Um, I would almost say that the why would be the most important
I
part of
agree.
that.
I
Would
agree.
you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Yeah, because I could sit here and go, the why for us is that, we have to we have to make sure that we cover the costs for the building. We have to make sure that we cover the costs for our salaries. We have to make sure that we cover the costs for our maintenance.
Your insurance.
And all of that. That's all part of our
Right.
expenses, and we have a little bit of a benefit in the fact that we're a municipally owned building, in that, I mean, it's not like the bottom's gonna fall out if 1 month 1, 2, 3 months, it doesn't work out quite that way.
Right.
But the law of averages, it will usually come out in the positive. At least it's come out in the positive every year so far.
Thanks to hard work for you and your team.
well, but it takes hard work to
It
do
does.
that, right? But, it's it's always it always goes back to the why. It isn't about, "Oh," I don't lie awake at night going, "Oh, well, we've gotta make sure that we have this amount of money because we we've got to pay for the bills," and, I don't function out of a place of fear in general, but
Right.
that's not the why. That is a why. It is a
Right.
why, but it is not
I
the why.
agree.
The why is we wanna be a bountiful resource for the county that we live in. And that's really important.
And you do a great job of telling who you are, what you do, where you're located.
Now that I know where I'm at.
Yes. But I agree with you. The why is the most important one. Why do you do this? Uh, why does one event choose to come here over another event choose to come here? And that opens doors like, okay, this one decided to come, but this one maybe didn't. I've got to find out why that did not. So
So, to that point, let me ask you this question. When you're choosing an event, would you would you say that there is trial and error involved in planning events?
everything and everything.
Okay.
No event is perfect. I learned that the hard way through
Very
the
true.
chamber. But you still learn from it. And if you have another event like that, if it didn't work, then I'm going to try something else. If it did work, yay, I've got this down. So yeah,
Yeah. I think it's important for people to also understand, that's true on every level of every event.
exactly.
And
It's true in life.
I can sit and I can visit with an event planner and we can come up with, I can go through the mechanics of what it is they're thinking and what they're dreaming. And I would be the last person to squelch somebody's dreams just because I just feel like that's ethically wrong.
Right.
Um, Sometimes you're like, and from my perspective, and I'm sure that you probably felt this way too, as you guys were planning events with the chamber, either chamber, would be okay. They're on a little bit of shaky ground. Okay, and so I do a little more hand holding in those situations, um, because I know they're on shaky ground. Uh, but to see them manifest something that even comes close to their dreams is so rewarding,
It is.
and
It
they're
is.
so excited, and they're like, "I wanna do this again next year." Of course, then I go, "Well, yeah, we need to look at the calendar." But that is so important
It's very important.
because really, I mean, it's in the details really kinda just encompasses everything about event planning because it's about the people.
It's about the people.
I mean, it's about the people, it's for the people, it's produced by the people. There are dreams to be achieved and accomplished, whether you're doing a fundraising thing or you're doing something that, I've just always wanted to. I just love dogs and I just want an AKC dog show and that's what I want to do. And okay, well, I don't personally, but you do, and you want to make this
It's about
happen.
them. I
Right.
think
It's
yes,
about them.
yes,
And it goes
exactly.
back to us doing whatever we can do to make sure that they reach that dream
Right.
or get really close so that they want to go, okay, I didn't hit my goal, but I'm going to do it again next year. And they just keep working at it until they get that. And I will say, we have one, we have an AKC dog show, not my cup of tea. That's okay. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be. But they've been here since the beginning of the building. You probably remember them. How they have just morphed into this almost perfectly executed event is amazing. But I honestly would attribute that success not to us. We're there to support them, but to them for do they have hiccups? Yes, they have hiccups, but it's how they approach them.
Recognize them and approach them.
They hit them head on.
Yes.
They don't try to sweep it under the rug. They don't try to, well, that doesn't normally happen. They don't try to excuse it. They just like, okay, that's a problem. Let's fix that. And they fix that and they move forward. So much so that they've become a gold standard. You call and want to have a dog show. Let me tell you the benchmarks that you need to hit to be able to do that. And it usually scares most people away. And that's not the intent. It's real, they don't realize it now, but they will. That benchmark, they could print that email and go wherever they wanted to go and have that, and they'll find that to be a useful tool. So I've really given them an asset to be able to work with.
Oh, you've worked with them. Exactly. Well, and you mentioned a while ago the 10th anniversary of this building, which still, when I think about it, I think 10 years, my gosh, I can't believe it. There's just so I'm sitting here thinking, okay, now what can we do for the 10th anniversary? This we can do this, and we can do this, and we can showcase this, and how do we get all the people here in Wilson County and Lebanon and Mount Juliet and Watertown? How do we get them here for an event to see their building? And I think that's one thing that we really need to focus on. It's their building.
We need to have one heck of a birthday party.
Yes, we do.
I think that
Blow
would
it.
be pretty awesome.
Well, the county's turned 200 years old last year. We had a big celebration. We got to have a big birthday party. That yes,
Yep.
I totally agree.
That works for me.
Count me in.
All right. All right. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Well, on a personal note, let me thank you for all the support that you have given the expo and all the support you've given me. You've been a wealth of advice and a wealth of history for me, educating me from everything from the three defined sections of the state that I didn't know were actually defined sections, which I thought was hysterical. Everywhere I go with you, I learn something new, which I love.
Oh, good.
Which I love. So I just
I
have
hope
really,
it's good.
it is. I've appreciated and valued that, and I look forward to that continuing. And thank you for being with me on this journey with the podcast. We're very excited about it. And just remember always that it goes back to the relationships and those experiences and the details that they involve.
Well, thank you for asking me to do this. Congratulations on doing
you.
this, and good luck. I think it's a wonderful idea, and I'll be listening and watching.
I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye.